Rev-Up office numbers are 572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Welcome to Meet the Minister, your inside look at government in action. Tune in every Friday at 10 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM for Meet the Minister, a powerful 60-minute conversation with a minister from the SLP government hosted by Jerry Fenelon. Get first-hand insights into the government's policies, programs, and progress as we discuss the issues that matter to you. Stay informed, stay engaged. That's Meet the Minister with Jerry Fenelon, Fridays at 10 a.m. only on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM.
It's now time for another Meet the Minister, hosted by Terence Fenelon. Mr. Fenelon, very good morning to you. Good to see you again.
Yes, very good morning to you, Andre, and to the listeners and viewers on Facebook, TikTok. You're on TikTok or Instagram?
No.
YouTube?
We're on X. We're on YouTube. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Twitter, formerly Twitter.
We're online.
You're on Tupatu?
Yes, all over the place. And I'm very, very proud to say that we're also broadcasting in the town of Soufrière.
Okay.
The signal goes as far, I think, I'm forgetting the name of the community right now. All the way up in the hills. All right, that's how far the signal goes.
So Tupatu.
Yes,
we're everywhere. So I'm happy to hear that. I'm trying to look.
Fort Saint-Jacques, I was saying. Fort Saint-Jacques.
I have a little device there that I'm trying to look, but it's giving me a little problem there. But
that's okay. In the meantime, we can chat. We can chat in the meantime.
It's an important.
You were listening to the show this morning,
yes,
and the issue of the Prime Minister making a promise that those who have occupied Crown lands, one caller said 20 years, and the vast majority of other callers said 30 years. Mm-hmm. So I didn't hear the statement myself, and I said, well, okay, let's wait until
you get here. I did send it to you via WhatsApp.
Okay, so I got that there?
Yeah, that's right.
Beautiful.
It's actually 30 years.
So he did say 30 years.
Yeah, I was listening to the last caller. He seemed very, very pessimistic. Let me ask you, Andre, just before I start. Well, we have started the program, but before I go into the format of the program, has the Prime Minister made a promise that he has not kept?
Well, you tell me.
No, but
you tell me.
All what he has said, he'll give pensioners this, he will do this. Every promise he has kept. So I don't know why the last caller was of the opinion that was a bluff. The Prime Minister had not bluffed anybody yet, you know.
Well, what he was saying, Mr. Fenelon, is that even though the Prime Minister promises that those who occupy Crown lands for 30 years and over, right, would be able to live on the land for free. Yes. He was saying that whoever now is on the land, would they be able to afford to survey the land, to build roads, to have electricity and water brought to the community? So that's what he was saying.
Right, that, Andre, I suspect, knowing the benevolent nature of the Prime Minister and the government, Minister of Housing and stuff, I think they would assist along those lines, Andre.
But he didn't make that promise.
No, he didn't. But I say what I believe, because I'm going according to the nature and what I have seen in the past. Mm-hmm. Because the Honorable Philip J.P., you could see he's very empathetic, very sympathetic, very understanding. He has a heart of gold. And so fingers crossed, he'll do everything in his power to assist
the people. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now, people must understand, you have to learn to help yourself too, because you'll be given the land for free. All right. Before we had this, Dr. Kenny Anthony on the PROUD program for regularization of unplanned development. At least you were given the land that you occupied. And I was just, before I came on air there, I was told that this is not really something new. If you were occupying government land, Crown lands for over 30 years, you'd make an application for ownership, and then you'd have to pay. But this time you are given the land for free. You have title now. You have that's in your, you own it. So you could leverage that to do what you want to do. So I think it's a good gesture, Andre.
But I think also, I'm just trying to imagine the situation, probably a moon kind of situation.
Well, it's already moon because they're already occupying the land.
Exactly. So now you need to have some order and so on. So definitely the government would need to have some kind of interests in trying their best to put things in place that there'll be order in the
but they're already on there for 40 years. So if it's Muna Alemun, they already moved Alemun. So it's a matter just of regularizing it, giving them title to the land. There's no bluff in that, Andre. I mean, and I want people to understand, where has he bluffed? When he says he's going to do something, he has done. And giving the people ownership, you're not giving them disenfranchised. You're giving them ownership of the land. Okay, let me apologize for Andre for being alone today, flying solo. It's not by design. Today is a very important day in St. Lucia, Andre. Today is the 23rd of May. Now, this date holds a lot of significance in many regards. Today, they'll be opening custody suites. Custody suites.
The new custody suites.
The new one. All right. Last night we were joking about that. Somebody was saying it would be a very nice thing while we open custody suites to be bringing somebody you have collected on the road for breaking the law as an exhibit. That was just an aside. But they'll be opening custody suites because today it was demolished on this day, about 5 years ago. 23rd of May. You don't remember that?
Of course I do. Of course.
That Saturday morning, Andre, where in the early morning when everybody must have been sleeping, people came in with the bulldozers.
Talking about bulldozers, we have to apologize to our listeners and viewers. We still have some refurbishments taking place to the adjacent office, so we do apologize.
And it's not it's not the nicest of things, but it's happening. So 100 people I seen on the live, you lie, you bluff. That's all the opposition says. They have no alternative things. But you lie, everything. Fenelon lie. I heard somebody describe me as being dishonest. Andre, I have not had a check for $499,000, that I cannot account for. Calling me dishonest is like a kidnapper telling people you're a criminal. You can't do this thing.
But why that figure, 499,000?
I don't know. It just came out of my head. Andre, I really can't tell you. That just came there. I don't know why $499,000 came from.
All right.
1,000 less than 500. I could have said $500,000. It would have been easier. But 499,000 is somewhere stuck in my brain. I don't know where kidnapping came from either. It just stuck in my brain, Andre. So in terms of criminality and stuff, people need to be careful when you accuse people of other things. Try to stay on policy and focus on what you're going to do for the country and where you're going to head. You understand what is going to be your policy going forward? In education, in healthcare, and so on. So, Andre. We need to stick on that. So I would apologize because today I know all the ministers, all of them, will want to be at the opening of custody suites. It's a beautiful building, Andre.
So this is a huge event, Mr. Fenelon.
But Andre, this is
all ministers are actually going to be attending that.
Yeah, because Andre, this was a big thing, Andre. 5 or 6 years ago when this was demolished, I mean, Andre. People cringe, I mean, and what
I think in the National Trust as well got involved.
We're going to play that in a while. Yeah. And Andre, when you think of crime is a problem for any government, and people believe a criminal will commit crime based on who is in power. No, criminals just commit crime, Andre. Right across in St. Vincent, our neighbor, three or four homicides in one go. The same thing, it's across the Caribbean. It's something that we have to grapple with. People talk about the States, and people from the diaspora call as though there's no crime in the country. In the States, there's mass shootings on school compounds. It's a vexing issue, a very vexing issue, and it has. Yes, it has to be political because whoever's in power, they have to put things in place to try to contain it and so forth. And I must commend the new commissioner of police. He is going about his business with his men, and Andre are wrong. I see the policemen out in full force a lot. I've been not stopped, but I've come across roadblocks about 3 or 4 occasions, and I smile when I see these roadblocks because I'm happy. I actually salute the police and tell them, good job.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Because the gun that they may retrieve there, that might be the gun that wants to take your life or somebody, my loved one, or this is important. So we're very happy, and I want to continue to commend the Commissioner of Police on that. So. Custody suites is going to be open when it was demolished, Andre. There's a hue and cry, and I think Andre, crime is our business. It's disconcerting, very disconcerting. When you say a life is taken, every life is precious, every life, and the criminals think, well, it's labor in power, so let me do it, or it's UWP in power, let me. No, they don't operate so, Andre. They are equal opportunity criminals. They do things based on. If they think they can get away with it. So we ought not to glory when, things happen because we figure it will give us a political advantage, we score political points. This ought not to be the attitude of a solution, of a national, of a citizen. Crime must concern all of us, Andre.
But let me ask you, what is your response to what the opposition is saying as far as custody suites, the shutting down or breaking down of custody suites? They're saying that they were given assurances by the hierarchy of the police force at the time that they would be able to house these detainees.
Andre, I could tell you, some people say anything at all. Out of shame, you say anything at all. I mean, they can handle that, and we know that there is not enough space. You have heard people, and you have heard the police say there is no place to put them. So why would they recommend the breaking down of something like that, the demolition? Andre, this demolition took place against a court order, I mean, when you start to disrespect court orders, I mean, we have reached a dangerous level, dangerous place. And Andre, people say, oh, there was a lot of bad things. That's part of our history. History is history. You think because something bad happened somewhere, you say, let's make sure because you have bad memory. History is history. There are prisons that have been retrofitted, government offices, etc. Because it is part of... That was about the oldest building in St. Lucia, That's historical. But you see, it was not our credit rating, so it could have been knocked down, That's our history. You don't run away from your history. You confront your history. You face your history. So you don't repeat it. You understand? So it has been rebuilt. And today, all of the ministers, I wish I could be there, but the body is not 100. I'm telling my producer that I did not want to tell him that and cancel the show, but the show must go on, Andre.
Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah, I heard you this morning, and really and truly, boy, your voice is terrible,
Yep.
Yeah, the voice is terrible, man, terrible. But it's good, man. It doesn't matter. We have soldiers, we soldier out. So Andre,
exactly.
There's a clip there. What's the first one there? I gave you there.
The closure of custody suites?
The closure. Could you just, let's refresh, because sometimes we need refreshers, because people come and they mama guy and they speak well and it flows off the tongue. Let's give our people a refresher of what happened on that fateful day 5 or 6 years ago.
It is Saturday, May 23rd, 2020, and we are witnessing the demolition of the Royal Jail, one of the oldest known structures in the city of Castries.
These things happen. We have to take it out. We can't leave this building there. It's not compatible with the style and the projection for that area. So it has to go.
Michael Shasta is on the site of the old prisons with Donnelly, directing the demolition of Her Majesty's prison, the old prison. Now I want to ask you, why is it that it is Michael Shasta who is on the prison site and not the Minister of Infrastructure, Stephenson King?
The demolition of the old prisons certainly didn't have my input. It was a matter which resided in the Prime Minister's office, and the Ministry of Infrastructure was simply asked to supervise the activity there. So we were not involved, and it really wasn't a project under our direction.
So we are very surprised to be hearing today, a Saturday, in the state of emergency period, that this building is being demolished. This is a very devious move on the part of the government as far as the trust is concerned. It is a dishonest move on the part of the government.
I'm also very, very happy that I am very happy. I am very happy.
Not at all. No.
It doesn't, because the letter is very clear in terms of what the agreement was. So if I remember the written agreement very well, the last part of the agreement says that the government reserves the right to be able to act unilaterally. And so therefore, every due consideration was given with regards to the building, and the decision was to move ahead.
People can, Andre, beat themselves, but it's a fact. There was a court order. It went to court. There was a court order. You heard the National Trust. Say what you want about them. That they are the custodian of our heritage, of our buildings and stuff. That's a fact. People can decide and say whatever, say I lie, but that's a fact.
So the trust had taken this matter
to the court.
Yes. To the court. And the court had issued an injunction.
A court order, saying
that a stay, yes. A stay of yes.
A word was given that we will not do anything. There'll be dialogue. And in the dead of the morning, early morning Saturday, the president was there destroying the building with Donnelly. One of our reporters, your reporters, Miguel, Freeview at the time. I'm not sure if he worked for HTS or NBC. Almost got him. He was almost buried alive.
Yes, I remember.
You remember that? I mean, that was a shameful day in our history, Andre. And when you begin to disobey the courts and stuff, that is frightening, Andre. I don't care what anybody says. That is not Terence Fenelon giving his own spin. You just read it. That's a fact. And you heard the descriptive words there. Devious. I mean, that was from, I think, the president of the CEO of the trust at the time. Devious. Cannot do that. And Andre, when you ask, why was the custody suites demolished? There's no rhyme or reason. And next for demolition was the Parliament buildings and the Printry. I mean, come on, people. Let's not muddy the waters and our eyes are so jaundiced we don't understand.
And Terence, you know more about government, how governments work and so on, right?
You think, yeah, but go ahead.
I hope so. I don't understand. I heard the infrastructure minister at that time, Stevenson King,
Andre,
saying he
is the Minister of Infrastructure. And he has no say in that. So that you have to ask yourself, what was really happening in this government and this cabinet? Because if he is the Minister of Infrastructure, he was just given a directive to just supervise that. He knew nothing. I mean, that's an indictment, So I could understand how Stevenson King felt, They call him all kinds of names, snakes. But from that, you could understand the kind of treatment he got at the hands of whoever was running the cabinet. I believe it was just a two-man cabinet. Well, three. The president, the prime minister, and the period guy. You understand? So you have a minister, sitting minister at that time, he knew nothing about the demolition going on there. I mean, that is an indictment on that government, that administration at the time. And you heard a former top cop who I still want to have some respect for. Talking about that should go. Andre, in my life, I never want to be a yes man, I never, ever. I mean, I hope. And my children, I think I brought them up so they have their own minds. You cannot be a yes man. Don't ever be a yes man to anybody. If something you figure is not right, you say so. And if you have to register it in writing, you do it. You don't just go with the flow. And if I'm in an organization and I cannot tell my organization I disagree with you and I am not supporting that and stuff, I need to go.
So do you tell the Labour Party organization how you feel? You able to express your feelings and so?
You must tell me if the GS and my producer, you understand? Because sometimes my producer, last week when the Prime Minister, my producer and we went at it, to let him know in no uncertain terms. If I need minimum 90 minutes with the Prime Minister. You cannot tell me no, Andre, this is, and sometimes he wants to confine me to. I'm a maverick, I like to be free. Yes, I can follow a little, but I don't like to be constrained, Andre. I like to flow. I like to as much as possible.
But I would really love to hear what the opposition has to say about those two matters: the court injunction and also the Minister for Infrastructure at that time. How is it
he will be on at some point?
I would love.
But you have been having him in the house,
No, I'm talking about the opposition right now to chime in on these two issues as to why they would have allowed.
You guys just any bagay they have to save face, Andre. And in life sometimes people have to save face and they say anything to get around it.
I will
the fact is the fact. These are facts. You heard the sitting. He is now a member of the cabinet, but he was with you all. He said he knew nothing about the demolition. You heard the National Trust use the word devious and stuff. So today, Andre, in the fight against crime, so the police will no longer have to be taking the fellas for limes and then dropping them. There's a place to hold them. Because this facility was, I understood, at the time was the biggest one in the OECS. You understand that holding facility?
But wouldn't you say that the police were quote-unquote devious at the time? Because remember, the now opposition is saying that they were given assurances from the police.
I place no credibility to what the opposition says, Andre. I do not believe any police commissioner or anything will tell these fellas go ahead and demolish, because I don't place any credibility on that. I'm sorry. I mean, unless I hear from the police, I'll give no credence to anything coming from the opposition, because from 2021 to now, all I've been hearing is propaganda, lies, misinformation, and disinformation. Nothing has been true. They have always had bombshell after bombshell after bombshell, and all these bombs have duds. Nothing. So at this point, you're asking me to give credence to what the opposition says? No, Andre, I can't do that. Once you have lied to me once, that's it, Once you have come with things that are not true, that's it, Andre. When you have a girlfriend, Andre, and she lies to you, doesn't the nature of the relationship change?
If I know.
Precisely. So when you find out that the woman that you love has lied to you, that's it, Andre. El finito, because nothing else, she says, you place trust in. And that is, unfortunately, the opposition has lost all credibility in my eyes. Sorry. They have not come up with anything truthful. They have been concocting stories, making stories out of their heads, conjuring things out of their heads. So nothing will rally. But today, the 24th of Andre, two great men entered the Parliament of St. Lucia. You know who these are, Andre?
No doubt, Dr. Kenny Anthony
is one, and
Philip J. Pierre.
Philip J. Pierre. These two guys came in together. 16-1, Andre, that was a momentous day. 16-1, 1997 it was, 28 years ago. And they came in together. So you see, today is not just the anniversary of the demolition of this custody suites, which you're opening on this day, but this day, both these men celebrate the ascendancy, so to speak, into the parliament. They won elections, and they have been going 28 years strong. So today, at present, the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, is the Prime Minister. He was on your show last. We were here to just play the clip with the Prime Minister, talking about his leadership style.
You know why the country is so stable? I am a Prime Minister of consensus. I'm a Prime Minister who speaks to people. I don't think I know anything. I will never tell civil servants, mind your business. It's not in your right to tell the government what to do. I'll never say that. I speak to people, and that's the difference between me and other people. I go and I say, let us talk, let's talk, let's come to a consensus. I'm not there for conflict. I'm not there to create problems. Because my job is to improve people's lives, not to make me seem as if I'm a hero. I'm a regular human being with strengths and weaknesses.
That is his style, Andre.
So can I ask?
You could ask me.
Who said that? To civil servants, mind your business.
Andre, and I know this will come up, and I've worked with the clip. I mean, you had a Prime Minister say, it's not your business to tell us how to run government. Basically, then you know, there's in the boulevard, shut up and listen to your masters. That's the same line, you know. Don't tell us how to run the government. Told that to the civil servants, and I don't want to call his name. It's blasphemy now. I don't want to corrupt the program if calling this guy's name, because these guys are not worthy to be in the same breath. Because today I'm celebrating the Prime Minister and Dr. Kenny Anthony. And let me make you understand something. People talking about Sir John Compton, great. And I don't know if I mentioned it. Even in death, Sir John Compton is helping the young people, you know. I'll expound on that a little later. Because we have to agree, Sir John he transformed the landscape. He did a lot. Yes, he had his shortcomings and his pimples. We give him that. But no human is perfect. He did wonderfully. All right? Kenny Anthony came in, followed in his tradition, you know. You know what I mean? I'll come to him in a while. And the Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Philip J. Pierre has done two things that, in my mind, has made him one of the most transformational leaders, you know, in St. Lucia. You know, sometimes you have to take decisions and make decisions because you must have the testicular fortitude to do it. Under the introduction of the minimum wage, Andre, that took gunners, you know, because a lot of people were, you heard the opposition talking and nonsense. Everybody they fire the workers, and then we had them. I mean, there are some. I don't know where these fellas went to school. Sorry, you know, it's not. You're hearing so much unintelligent things. Andre, the minimum wage. You know, a lot of people got almost 100% increase in salary, right? And you heard the Minister of Public Service saying they went to one of the establishments which they thought would not have complied. And lo and behold, not only did they raise everybody, well, they raised those at the bottom, but to maintain the gap, they gave the others and the supervisors another. So, I mean, I was like, that floored me, Andre, because people were of the opinion that would be fought against. But Andre, it went, and the introduction of the minimum wage did not stop anything. Unemployment went down. 8.8, that's a fact.
So let me ask you,
that's not my factor.
Why was it so challenging for past administrations to have introduced this minimum wage? What happened at the time of this current Labour Party administration that they were able to do it? Because it seemed like it was something almost impossible.
Yeah, well, you see, there are some things that people feel that they ought not to touch because it may have political consequences. Sometimes people say, what? there's an economic sense, might be political nonsense. You might do the right thing and you pay for it at the polls. Right? And Dr. Anthony said so,
Yes.
that he says, man, I'll follow my sword. There are some things I must do. I may pay for it. And he did that. Now that takes gumption. That takes a lot of,
That was one of the...
Yeah. Now, although he was not the initiator, but he had to implement it.
Yes.
Because these were conditions the former administration had done all the work. But when he came in, he had no choice. He had to implement it. And, we demonize that. We are the only country in the Caribbean that had not yet implemented VAT, Andre. We go to all other Caribbean countries, and we pay the VAT. But it's a we figure that was demonic. We didn't want to do that. And he paid for it. And we understand that. So there are some things, Andre, that people are afraid because they feel there'll be economic, there'll be political consequences. You'll pay for it at the polls. But it is something that needed to be done. And in spite of the political fallout, you have to do it. And it was done. The other thing that Philip JP has done, the ascension to the CCJ, the delinking. Andre, we have to get rid of this colonial thing, these shackles around our neck. And I'm really praying and hoping that before the next elections are called, he will announce that we are going to become a republic. Andre, so like Barbados has gone before us. Imagine Barbados was just little Britain, little England. They have gone ahead of us. Maybe now, Andre will begin to follow and do that, completely delink. So when you stand when you take the oath, you don't swear allegiance to His Majesty the King. You swear allegiance to the people of St. Lucia, man. And that is something that we're going to do. So, Philip JP, in a short time, I know a lot of people hate him. I don't know why, but all he has done, Andrea, all I can see he has been doing is putting you first. Regardless, a lot of lies have been told about him, but that's fine. But he's there. Let me try to read. I think I saw something. Let me just read something. Let me try to get. Sorry, viewers, listeners. Let me just try to get something from my phone there. Wow. Let me go down. All right. Let me see. That's from my. And by the way, he's my parliamentary representative. All right. So Castries is. That's from the Honorable Philip JP to his constituents, to me. Castries is. It has been one of my life's greatest honors to serve and represent you as your member of parliament. Over the last 28 years, we have celebrated, shed tears of joy, and comforted each other. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your lives, and together we have witnessed generational transformation of many in our communities. We have not always had it easy. You have been punished for supporting me, the Belrose Doctrine. But your loyalty and commitment to the cause have been unshakable, and I thank you. To the St. Lucia Labour Party, on May 23, 1997, under the leadership of the Honorable Kenneth D. Anthony, our historic 61 victory paved the way for a more equitable society, underpinned by a philosophy of educational opportunities, home ownership, and community development as key tenets for success. Thank you, Dr. Anthony, for your sterling stewardship. As we celebrate this anniversary today, I recommit myself to the cause of bread, justice, and freedom. I pray that God gives us strength and courage to continue in service to the people of St. Lucia. This is from our Prime Minister to his constituents who put him in Parliament on this day, May 23rd, 28 years ago. And so, Andre, it is a momentous day. Now we come into Dr. Anthony because it's also his anniversary. He led the Labour Party to this monumental victory. I have a clip. It's 9 minutes. I may decide to let's let it play. Let's hear from Dr. Anthony himself.
My beloved constituents, this is an unusual meeting. I am the sole speaker. I wanted it that way. This is so because the matter I wish to share with you concerns you and me, no one else. As I said, I am aware that many people here have journeyed from other constituencies to hear me tonight. I welcome and appreciate their presence. I thank too our party, the St. Lucia Labour Party, for understanding the peculiarity and the unusual nature of this meeting. I ask that I be alone with my constituents and that they do not share this platform with me. They have understood, and I appreciate it. This meeting was not summoned to discuss the proposed projects for our constituency announced by the Prime Minister in his recent budget address. This meeting was not called to respond to Lady Lee and her pronouncements about me or her plans for the constituency. That, I promise you, will come later. This meeting is about the opportunity you gave to me to serve you and our country over the past 28 years, and the future representation of our constituency. I have had no greater honor in my life than to serve you, the St. Lucia Labour Party, and the people of St. Lucia. Without your support, I could not have been the Prime Minister of our country for 3 terms and also shape its future development. Throughout my career, these many years, I have hardly ever spoken about myself. I do not even think that you know what my academic credentials are or whatever other accomplishments I may have had. I hardly speak about these things, but I will do so tonight in a very limited way for a very special reason. Next to politics, the greatest achievements I've had were in academia. You would know that I am probably one of the few, if not the only person, who has graduated from the University of the West Indies with 2 first-class honors degrees, one in politics and history, and the other in law. When I did my PhD at the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom, I was awarded a PhD without an oral examination, almost unheard of in universities, because my examiners thought my thesis was excellent. The quality they reasoned spoke for itself. It was convincing, well-researched, and if there was blemish, it was insignificant. I value these academic judgments next to my sojourn in politics. And for me, I will always retain the title by which you know me, Doc, as you always say, because it will always be that celebration of my academic achievements, not a celebration of the politics which I shared with you over the years. another 2 days, on May 23rd, 2025, to be exact, I will have spent some 28 years representing you. This has been a long, memorable journey. And so I have come to this delicate juncture of which I speak. I have therefore decided that I will no longer offer myself to be your candidate at the next general election. Some of you will be sad and disappointed. Some will gladly see my back. I'm also aware that some of you believe that it is time for Vieux South to be represented by a Beaufortian. Even though I respect those who openly profess such views, I do not accept their logic. But they too will get their wish. But I hope I will continue to be an example of a politician who demonstrated that place of birth and upbringing are not impediments, that what matters are commitment, dedication, truth, love, and respect. I have no regrets having made the decision to represent you these past years. It has had its pain, frustrations, and disappointments, but so too it has had its moments of joy and glory. The truth is, if I had another opportunity, I would do it all over again. I have had no greater honor in my life than to serve you, the St. Lucia Labour Party, and the people of St. Lucia. Without your support, I could not have been the Prime Minister of our country for 3 terms and also shape its future development. But I hope I will continue to be an example of a politician who demonstrated that place of birth and upbringing are not impediments, that what matters are commitment, dedication, truth, love, and respect. I have had no greater honor in my life than to serve you, the St. Lucia Labour Party, and the people of St. Lucia. Without your support, I could not have been the Prime Minister of our country for 3 terms and also shape its future development. I have no regrets having made the decision to represent you these past years. It has had its pain, frustrations, and disappointments, but so too it has had its moments of joy and glory. The truth is, if I had another opportunity, I would do it all over again. I want no buildings, no roads, no communities named after me. None. And those of you who do so, who have named roads and communities after me, you do so at your own peril, because you are earning my displeasure.
Yes, Mr. Fenelon.
You heard it there from the great man himself. I know people try to vilify him. I heard one of your frequent in-studio guests disparaging him, making light. But Dr. Anthony, and let me just spend a few minutes on seeing how transformational he was. I'm going to do justice to it a little later, because I'm compiling what he has done, how he has transformed the landscape, and it will be dealt with later. I know there are a lot of people who, you lie! That's the retort. Everything is you lie. You know, you this, you that, you looking like a monkey. That's okay, that's fine. But we're dealing with the facts, okay? The facts. Education. You know, first of all, when he came in, they had to amend the Constitution to allow him to be a senator, a minister of education. But as the Prime Minister, let me pull that up on my phone. Andre, you're aware? I think you're old enough. Remember the shift system?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes. Let me pull that up there. He, with his Minister of Education, Honorable Mario Michel, retired Chief Justice, Permanent Secretary, Dr. Didicus Jules, and stuff, set about transforming the education landscape. And that's important, Andre, education. Because there's a time, Andre, about 6,000 children with the common entrance, and there's only space for about 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we are telling our children at 12 and 13 years, some of them, half of them, no dice. You have to go to standard 6 or something until you drop out, and so on, Andre.
I grew up in that system.
You grew up, so so that affected you, so you know it well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was painful, right?
Mm-hmm. Very.
Very painful. And they went about trying to, they dismantled that. Now, the shift system was supposed to be a temporary thing, you know. What did they do? Well, I remember RC St. Aloysius RC Boys Primary and Ave Maria Girls. They built the Dame Paulette Louise Primary School. But that itself would not have solved the problem. So a revolutionary thing, universal secondary education. So what happened? The Grosley Secondary School was built. Babylon Secondary School was built. Cicerone Secondary School was built. The RGS Secondary School was built. The PI Secondary School was built. The Marigold Secondary School was built in a short space of time. Because Dr. Anthony realized we could not be wasting our human resource or human resources. These children ought not to be turned away from school because there's no space. So a decision was made, I think with the World Bank on the BERP project, the Basic Education Reform Project. I listed 6 secondary schools there, maybe I left out one, and the Dame Paulette Louise Primary School. And Andre, that was a glorious day. You know. For that alone, as far as I'm concerned, for that alone, Dr. Andre deserves his flowers, you know. But there's much more. For that alone, Andre, he deserves his flowers. Because he took those children who were falling by the wayside and were telling, oh, well, I mean, you're worthless, you nothing else, and you said that affected you. Mm-hmm. You know how painful that was. All your friends going to a secondary school, and then you have to realize, well, no dice, that is it. That has changed. So we have universal secondary school education now, thanks to Dr. Anthony. There is no more shift system. So the shift was particularly bad because everyday children were losing at least 45 minutes of instructional time. So you multiply that. So we have all the other children in Methodist, Anglican, and the others around the island getting the full days, 9 to what, 3? Mm. The others one shift, morning shift, afternoon shift. So there was a lot. And there was social ills with that because the unsupervision at a certain time, many children home, etc. So that took care of that, and that was revolutionary. Well, I will not tell you what the opposition tried to do. I mean, so ridiculous, and I mean, it's not worth repeating.
Well, they're already saying that they actually started the process of universal secondary education.
I've told you already, the opposition can say anything at all they want.
I think they said that they already started building all the schools.
That's not true, Andre, because I have intimate knowledge of that, so I know that's not true, Andre. I mean, they're trying to take credit because, they would have do it. They should have do it. They were going to do it. They never did it. So let's leave that there. They didn't do it. All right, Andre? I mean, they did nothing of the sort. So right now, everything, the minimum wage, they're going to implement a minimum wage too. They're always going to do something, Andre. Because when the thing is done now, they want to take credit why we were doing that. Nonsensical. Totally, I'm not going to waste time on that. So he revolutionized the education landscape. Right, Andre? So all children are accounted for. You go to a secondary school. Dr. Anthony, the foresight, 1 laptop per child. Every child. And sometimes we oppose just for opposing sake because we want to oppose. 1 laptop per child. Every child was getting. There was even one, the white one from Venezuela. They were calling it the Kenny Tops because it had a different operating system. I think Linux or whatever it was. 1 laptop per child. Because Dr. Anthony, a visionary, saw the future. And look at what happened when these guys came in and they stopped it. Pandemic hit, but the schooling had to continue. They couldn't be left idle, and so they were scrambling all over the place. People are asking, well, if you have old ones, bring it, we'll repair it to give to children. Ridiculous. You had a sound policy in place, but because it was not initiated by you, you stopped it. Andre, we cannot do that. And we have to find a way, Andre, that governments, what is good is good. You don't dismantle it because it is not your idea. It is good, it is good.
I'm glad you said governments.
Governments must do that. No, governments. Andre, I'm not going to say the Labour Party government or Europe. Governments. Because if something is good, it's good. You don't, Andre, come on. That was a wonderful initiative, and it is still wonderful now. And right now, I'm very happy to, I think every secondary school child has a laptop, Andre, look, I just got a little thing there. I bought that for a few dollars, $60. It might not be the best. So I can follow your program there, and I'm laughing at some of the comments, but the flubbers are going crazy, because they can't deal with the truth. The truth is like bug spray. Once you get in the truth, it's like bug spray, it gets them agitated. The truth is the truth, Andre. 1 laptop per child, that was revolutionary. You try to stop it, you saw what happened. Bursaries for children coming into Form 1, because we know sometimes some parents, and I've seen it, Andre, it's a little difficult. So you give them a little help, a little soulagement, so they can buy the uniforms for the children and stuff. That is good. And although he didn't start it, but PJP now, Prime Minister, building on that now, he's paying CXCs. He started with 2. It is, as of this year, is going to move to 4. And I did ask him, was it on your program? Yeah, last week. Why not 5? And I think the answer is instructive. Sometimes we have to take responsibility for our education, for what is ours. Just as the guy with the land, figure, well, you must get everything for free. No, you're already given land. You're squatting on 6,000 square feet of land. You have that. You have title. You could use that to assist and help yourself. We have to learn to help ourselves, Andre. We cannot always be dependent on them. All right? So, Andre, Dr. Anthony, a lot of other things. Well, the Proud, I mentioned Proud. A lot of people got land on the Proud. You understand? The healthcare, OKEU. He did a lot. And I'm going to do justice to it, people. I'm going to upset a lot of people who don't like the truth. And I'm going to make some people happy who understand. I'm going to categorize, catalog, chronicle his achievements and how he has transformed. We're already doing it for PJP, for the Honorable Prime Minister now. You see, we are ahead of our time. You understand? We are ensuring that we do that so we could chronicle that. Because when people say PJP has done nothing, I'm like, you serious? These are people who just want to talk, who want to say something. So we're going to do that properly for Dr. Anthony, so that you could understand how transformational he was, how good a leader he was, because he came in a tough time, but he negotiated things, put us on the right path.
So let me ask you, during his speech, I think the speech was about 90 minutes.
Yes.
Did he catalog all the things that he did? Because I heard him mention one particular thing, and I remember I said, hey, but that is true. He spoke about the telecoms market.
Oh, the liberalization of the telecoms.
Yes, he spoke about that. I think, was that the only thing that he mentioned?
No, well, he didn't want to talk. You see, Dr. Ali doesn't like to speak about himself. And even last night, I was telling some of my friends, what I thought he could have done to us, like, I know he was going to do that. I know the announcement has come in. He could have had somebody do a tribute, but he didn't want that focus on himself. He wanted to. He was on a radio station, and he did tell the host that when he has made a decision, one way or the other, whether he's going to run or not, he's going to speak to his constituents. So I had a foreboding, I had a inkling that he was, and I got some subsio that he was going to say, all right, this is it. And you must know when to quit. As a cricketer, boxer, and he went out of class. All right, he has been undefeated. He has represented, but yes, he had feelings, like we all do, Andre. I saw a quote about a meme. Somebody said, yeah, after you have gossiped about me, pray to God and ask the Lord for me to be as perfect as you. Because we like to do that, we could criticize.
So let me ask you, so how because you said we must know when to call it quits.
Yeah.
In your view, why would you say that? What would be the signs for Dr. Anthony that would indicate to you that it's time for him to make his exit?
Now, as he said, he didn't want to loom large, his shadow over the government. And that's true, Andre. Because if he was in the cabinet, maybe the Prime Minister would have been walking on eggshells around him. So sometimes you figure, maybe Dr. Anthony has lived a full life. You understand? We're still talking about education. The Education Act that we have around the OECS, I even forgot to mention that. You know he wrote that, right? You know he's the one...
The Education Act.
And let me ask you a trick question. Well, not a trick. Which is the only subject mandated from the Education Act that's compulsory in schools?
That would be English?
No. I'll give you another guess.
Mathematics?
Okay, one more guess. No. The only subject, according to the Education Act, mandated is religious education.
Really?
And that's what I found. So people are saying that he stopped prayers in cabinet and like he didn't want prayers. And I'm like, but that's not consistent with the man who is writing an Education Act that makes religious education compulsory. Not math and English.
Wow.
Right, yeah, you don't know that, right? You didn't know that. And he wrote that while he was at CARICOM for the entire OECS. So when people are saying that he didn't want prayers in school prayers and they stopped prayers in school, it always amazed me. I was like, where are these people getting their information from? The tsunami guy said maybe the same school I went to, but I went to good schools. I was not a bright fella, but I went to good schools. You understand? The tsunami guy. But that's okay. Andre, you understand? So sometimes you sit back and you realize you are not making the impact, although in the House it's brilliant. It's brilliant. His speeches, I mean, the last contribution to the budget debate, that should be mandatory listening for all students of politics. You understand? It was good. And when he has promised to come here with me, so when he comes, I'll have that list, and we can discuss it and stuff. I'll go through his stuff, Andre.
I remember a few weeks ago when he was giving his address, I called you at the time to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about, and you said to me, sorry, let's talk a little later.
Yes.
And then
when the great man is on, Andre, I take no calls. I don't disturb me. I don't care where I am, Andre.
But at least you answered the call.
I'll answer out of courtesy, but I'll tell you, I'll call you back because the man is on his feet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When Dr. Anthony stands to speak, Andre, the world must be at attention. I don't care what other people say. This man has great intellect, a great stature, and he's very intimidating. When you're in his presence, Andre, it can be very intimidating. And his stature, you learn a lot from him. If you sit down with Sagashit into Andre, he's at home in the Kabawe, he's at home in Parliament. I mean, the man is just brilliant all around. I don't care what people say. Yes, he had his feelings. I'm going to say, just as Sir John. Sir John did what? I should have opened the lines, But I'm not a minister, so you can say I'm not taking calls. I'm not a minister.
You'll take my calls.
I'll take your calls. No, don't worry about that. So they'll say, Fenelon, I'm taking calls. No, I'm not a minister, so that's okay. I'm just filling in our slot. I want to tune into the opening. I suspect a big announcement will be made there, to the custody suites, Andre. I mean, that's all. So he did a lot. Under Kenny Anthony's, the Darren Sammy ground was built, you know. You aware of that? The Darren Sammy cricket ground. Because remember when the Australians came and Miss Honorable Marie Michelle says, no, man, you see me in the Philip Park? We're going to build a ground. He was vilified, you know. Oh, tourism, this and that and that. But stand in your ground. And Darren Sammy cricket ground. The first stadium, everybody followed our lead, you know.
But you have to admit, Mr. Fenelon, that both sides do that. They vilify each other.
Yeah,
both sides do.
I just told you that.
Yeah.
And we have to reach a place where we have to stop.
Just as you said a while ago about stopping projects and things.
Yeah,
we really
but
need to.
What is upsetting to me now, Andre, is the level of debate. I try to, I no longer listen to the opposite because they're not saying what they're going to do. All I hear is bad border and, you know, send barrels only for UWP. That nothing of substance. You understand? I want to hear, you know, when the Honorable Philip says, listen, I'm not a policeman. My job is to get things to the, and I'm getting this. I'm getting bulletproof vests. I'm getting this. Today, a transfer vehicle. We'll be doing that. I'm going to be doing that for the pensioners. That I'm going to peg your NIC thing to the cost of living index. And that's what I want to hear. I'm going to be paying 4 CXCs for secondary school. You know how much of a relief that is going to be for students. So on this anniversary, Andre, we have to commend Dr. Kenny Anthony, thank him for his leadership and his service to the country. He has bowed off with grace and dignity. Okay, and you notice he says he's not going to play with the selection of anybody to replace him, right? He's not going to play with that. He's going to allow the party to do that, but he will support whoever. And he has made a commitment to his people. I'm going to be with you until that bell is rung.
And one more thing, because we're just about ending.
And yes.
Do you think the party's under any, well, I don't know, legally or otherwise, to obey his request not to name anything after him? Does the party really have to?
No, I think you should respect his wishes. However, I would say to the party, we don't name anything after him, we don't, but we should have a day of celebration. You understand? Call it Dr. Kennedy Anthony Day. Just as we have Tunnel Tuesdays, we may have a Saturday where we say we're going to View Fort. We put up the tent, we put up the music, and we say thank you. Because Andre, I'll tell you, it's good. And when I retired, my teachers, I don't know, I had no clue, I had no input. People believe I was lost like everybody. They sent me off beautifully, brought tears to my eyes, Andre. They made me cry about 3 times. and to me, thank you and bye-bye. And I left. So I think we ought to do that. We ought to pay respect to the elder statesman, and we do that. Okay, Andre?
Yes. We have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
Yes, I know. People are, but as the Prime Minister, always fact check me. I'm not here to spread lies or propaganda or disinformation or misinformation. I'm here to just give you the facts, basic facts. So, Andre, it was nice being here.
Yes.
And see you next week. Hopefully, there'll be no grand opening of anything, and there'll be a minister physically present in the studio.
Thank you, Terence Fenelon, the host of Meet the Minister. Heard exclusively on Rev-Up St. Lucia every Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So thank you for listening. This is where I end my shift here on Rev-Up St. Lucia for today. Thanks for listening and thanks for viewing. Have yourself a safe weekend. Oh, don't forget you can join me tonight at the Labrie court. I think the court in Labrie. There's an activity there tonight. Yeah, I'll be there. God willing.
Yeah, you'll be driving down. Maybe I should accompany you, man. Get some rest.
Yeah, man. Come for some action. Come for some action. All right.
All right, folks. See you.
Okay.
Right,
bye-bye.
Let's go.
Welcome to Meet the Minister, your inside look at government in action. Tune in every Friday at 10 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1.